Hey guys, welcome back to the JPM Performance channel. It's once again time, of course, for a shop tour. We are here. It's actually Tuesday the 9th. You guys are seeing it on Thursday the 11th because I'm leaving in the morning to go to the Brian Redman Hawk, whatever they call it, vintage race up at Elkhart Lake. I'm going to be driving my dad's MGA. So actually had the car here last week and got it all aligned and ready to go, and so hoping to get some footage from that event. If you've never been to this event, check out the footage I'm going to get, not only of in-car video with the MGA, but also I'm going to get around the paddock because I'm not going to have 30 customers because I don't have any vintage customers. So that means I'm going to actually have some time to get you guys some around the paddock video. So that's good. Now, what have I been doing? Well, we were off, right? It was 4th of July last week. So I was off Thursday, Friday. Here we are Tuesday. So finished up Hayden Manis's, we're going to call it his runoffs engine. So it is complete and finished, and you'll see it over here. I have not gotten back to these differentials. I did finally get in my bearings for the 1.8. And I do have everything for the RX-8 now, but because I'm leaving tomorrow, once again, it's going to have to wait. So I'm going to have to wait till next week. But next week, after we get back from this vintage race, we're kicking it in here, kicking it into gear. No more screwing around. We've got a lot of things to get done. So what you're going to see here is taking up most of the shop today is the Camaro. Steve actually went out to High Plains last weekend, had a very successful weekend. He said it was perfect. We actually ended up sending the shocks out to a guy in California. I wish I could remember his name because I'd like to give him a shout out. I think it's Brenner Shocks. All he does is Olin's. I think it's David Brenner. So anyway, we actually sent these shocks out last week overnight. He did them, overnighted them back. I've got them on the car. Steve said the car was better than it's ever been. Felt good, drove good, made it through the whole weekend. Everything was great. So now what I'm attempting to do here is a complete flip around so he can make it to the Bass, what are they calling it? The Bass Backwards race at Hallet this weekend. So what they're doing is they're running Hallet backwards. So changing the transmission for the short gearing, not a big list. Had a little window net thing we're dealing with. And then of course prep. You can't just run one of these cars like it's a spec Miata. You got to nut and bolt check the suspension, changing the engine oil, changing fluids, obviously getting everything checked out. But because the car came immediately from the racetrack, I had to unload the entire trailer, just like if he was going to the track. So you can see some of the things that he has in his big trailer. He's got this nice big Polaris Ranger. All the fuel cans. This is what he uses to pull the car with around the paddock area. You can see he's got a nice aluminum rack for tires. So this currently has some Pirellis on it, which is what you run in Trans Am. So we're going to be moving the car over to Trans Am here in the next, for next season. So hopefully a couple more good weekends for him, and then he can save these for that. You can see he's got a nice pit cart with nitrogen here on the bottom, which I was just using. I know Bob Clark's going to make a mention about this if he's watching. I am going to put the cap on the nitrogen bottle, Bob, when I'm done with it. So don't worry about that. Really nice pit cart here. You can see he's got a little air compressor. I'm not sure what he uses that for. Here's our little red cart, now level, and some jack stands, and then he's got a fuel pump situation going over there. Just takes a lot of stuff, to deal with a car like this. So I'm going to try and get this done here today and get it all loaded back into the trailer so I can get out of here tomorrow, and then he can come pick it up whenever he wants to this week. So that's kind of what's going on there. Got actually two engines in, one here and one over by the front door. Just came in yesterday. It's a little packed up in here today. Here's Hayden's engine ready to go. So all they have to do is put it into the car and hook up all the peripherals, of course. And of course, AMSOIL brake-in oil, which is what I use on everything. And so that's kind of our shop tour, right? So we did shop tour last week on Wednesday, and now we're doing it on Tuesday. Eventually, we're going to get back to doing them on Wednesdays so you guys see them Thursday morning. Mazda 2 update, not much. I did get my new wheel in. These end keys have gone up in price a little bit, so I ended up buying this from Tire Rack. It was like shipped to me. It's like 250 bucks. They used to be like 180 bucks, so I guess things have changed over the years. But at least I've got that. And then I've started prepping the block. So it still amazes me. Every time I deal with one of these little tiny blocks, it amazes me how light it is. I mean, look at this thing. Like, I can toss it around like I should weigh it. It's got to be like 30 pounds. There's nothing there. But it's got, the main caps are part of the bottom girdle. It's kind of a neat design, right? So you have to seal the bottom of the girdle with the main caps that are part of the girdle and the bearings. And then on the bottom of that goes the oil pan. So it's a pretty interesting little setup. It's kind of a small version, obviously, of an MZR motor or a Duratec. But yep, getting it all cleaned up and ready to go to the machine shop so we can get this going, get the pistons taken care of, and then all the little bits and pieces that I'm going to be doing just to chip away on this thing and make it better and better and better and better. So constantly working on the car, but not a lot of time to get a ton done this week on the Mazda 2. But anyway, next week we'll have ourselves a little bit of a vintage race report. We will get some video rounded up and some paddock access. There's amazing vintage cars that you have never seen before in your life at these races, and it's a little mind-blowing. Some of them are super, super expensive cars. A lot of Can-Am cars, prototypes from way, way back. You know, everything's supposed to be like pre-1972. And then they've got, they do have some classes for more modern cars as well. But it'd be some interesting stuff. So we'll get that for you guys as well. Have a recap, and then we're going to take a big breath next week, and we're going to get back to working on runoff stuff. It's already almost the middle of July. We got to get rocking and rolling here. So, like always, I appreciate you guys watching. Have a great rest of your week, and I'll see you soon. Take care.